Hey everyone, Briana Kid with High Country Yoga here. Today's practice is going to be all about surrender. In order to understand surrender, we need to understand the difference between our ego self and our most authentic self, or our highest self. The ego is comprised of the things that we kind of label ourselves as, the things that are changing in our life. So for example, the ego deals with your job title, your relationship status, your color of your hair, right? And underneath this layer of the ego, or this layer of kind of attachment or expectation or labeling, lies the layer of our most authentic self. And in this layer, if we can tap into it, we can really feel a deep sense of peace that lies within ourselves. This can translate on the mat as we start to tap into our body and especially our breath. Our breath can help us to let go of the layer of the ego and dive down to the layer of peace that lies within all of us. And so today, we're going to transition from being the doer or the thinker or the critic of ourselves, and we're going to be the breather. We're going to simplify and be the breather today. So let's go ahead and get started. We're going to start on our backs, so you can gently lie down into your mat. So today we're going to start in corpse pose. So let's extend our legs long onto the mat and free yourself up. Take some space here. Let your feet be a little wider than your hips so you can let go of the grip in the legs. Take the arms a little bit wider than shoulder width so that you can release any grip in the shoulders. And soften the eyes closed. Just starting to notice the natural peace that your breath has to offer for you. Corpse pose is the ultimate pose of surrender. So we're starting here today as though we're pressing the reset button in our body, letting go of all of the muscles, giving them a chance to refresh themselves. Take a deep breath into your belly, fill it up. Open your mouth, let it go, let the belly drop. Good. Let's begin with fish pose. So we're going to bend the knees, walk the feet onto the mat, and wiggle one hand and then the other underneath your seat. So your palms are facing down. You're essentially sitting on your hands. Then we'll extend the legs long, feet together. Scoop the elbows a little bit underneath your back. And then keeping your hands and your elbows down, we're going to inhale and lift the torso up. And as you exhale, drop your head back. So essentially, I'm sitting on my hands, dropping my head back, and in fish pose, I'm feeling my heart is open. So we're going to open up our hearts here, open up our throat as well, our communication center, and really allow anything to surface for this practice. Take a breath into your heart. Make sure you continue to lift the heart as you take one more breath now into your throat in order to speak our truth. And then gently we'll tuck the chin and come back down into the mat. And you can release your hands out from underneath you. Now let's pull the knees into the chest. Keep the chin a little bit tucked so that you feel the back of your neck is long. And we're going to move into happy baby. So let's go ahead and open our knees, reach the hands through for the feet. If you need to, you might do a little sit-up here to grab onto your feet. And then tucking the chin a little bit once the head is rested. And noticing that the spine is flat into the mat, all the way from the back of the head, through the neck, all the way down into your lower back. We're going to continue into happy baby, but if your lower back comes off the mat, come right back into this position. We want to get that straight spine. So if you'd like to continue or you want to try, we're going to open up our feet about hip width distance or a little wider than that, maybe mat width distance apart. So our knees are at 90 degrees bend, and our spine is imprinted into the mat. Happy baby, literally one of the first poses we've ever done in our yoga practice. So inviting in this sense of a new beginning to help us connect to the layer of surrender within us. If you'd like, you can bring in a joyful experience. You can start to rock your happy baby from side to side, massaging your back into the mat. Good. Let's go ahead and bring our feet and our knees together. And we're going to gently rock up to a comfortable seated position. All right, we're going to move into bound angle. So let's bring the bottoms of our feet together and open the knees up wide. You want to make sure that you can still sit up tall in this pose. So if pulling your feet in really close makes you round your back, then you're welcome to scoot your feet as far forwards as you need, creating a little bit more diamond shape in the legs so you can really sit up nice and tall through your spine. So finding your comfortable bound angle legs and holding onto your ankles or your shin bones and inhaling to pull into your grip a little bit to lift your heart up. And as you exhale the breath, let's go ahead and fold down over our legs. You can use your elbows to gently press your legs open. Now you might take your hands onto your feet. If you like, you can massage out your feet or use the thumbs to massage the arches. Or if you have the flexibility, you might even take your forearms to the ground with your palms facing up in this gesture of receiving. So as we fold into our bound angle, we want to not get so hung up on this pose needing to look a certain way or feel a certain way. We want to just be able to surrender into the posture and let the weight of our body start to melt into the stretch. With every breath, peeling away a fine layer of tension to access the depth of the hips. Let's take another breath here. Feeling that stretch in the outer hips, in the groin, and in the lower back. And then we'll gently begin to rise up. So coming back upright, and we'll move into our next posture. So let's take our right leg and we'll extend it out at a 45 degrees angle and pull the left foot into the inner right thigh. Now make sure you feel rooted through your seat. So you might have to peel away some layers underneath your sitting bones. And for revolved head to knee, we're gonna reach our right hand towards our right foot. It's okay if you don't find your foot. And we'll reach the left hand up, big inhale. And on the exhale, dive the left arm over your head, taking your left palm to face down to keep your shoulder protected. So this pose is all about stretching our side body. So focus on the length that you're creating in your left side. Really root down through your left hip and reach out through your left fingertips. Imagining like you're pressing your left side ribs into your left side body, so you avoid any crunching or collapsing into the right side. Take another breath. And to release, on the inhale, reach the left hand up to sit up. And as you exhale, take the left hand right beside your left hip. To counter stretch, we're going to lift our hips up and begin to swing the right arm all the way around. So now you should feel the stretch or the length you're creating in the right side of your body. Press your hips forwards and take a breath. Inhale. And as you exhale, let's go ahead and circle back down to our seat. And we're going to switch sides. So we'll extend our left leg out at 45 degrees and pull our right foot into our inner left thigh, being sure to find that connection of your sitting bones into the earth. Flexing through your left foot, nice and strong, we'll reach our left hand towards our left foot and inhale, reaching the right arm up. As you exhale, dive your right arm over your head with your palm facing down to keep that shoulder protected. Now, in this pose, it's really easy to let the ego take over, right? The ego mind says, oh, I can reach my foot, no problem, right? But as I'm here, notice what happens maybe to your chest if you reach for your foot. My chest is starting to turn down, so I'm collapsing here in my heart space. I want to make sure my heart is nice and free and open here. So of course, yes, if I can hold onto the foot and start to peek underneath the arm, maybe if I had the flexibility, this would work, right? But it's really okay to have your hand far away from your foot. It's not about the ego mind saying you need to reach the foot. It's more about the subtle energy that lies underneath the ego that says, I'm just here to experience space or a stretch in my right side. I don't need to find the foot today. So let's take one more breath here. And then we'll inhale, reach the right arm up to sit up. And as you exhale, place the right hand beside the right hip. And to counter stretch, let's take that half circle, lifting the hips, swinging the left arm all the way around, and pressing the hips forwards to get that nice opening in the left side. Take a breath. Inhale the breath. And as you exhale, let's come back down into the mat. Let's go ahead and meet in a tabletop position. So coming onto all fours, hands and knees posture, with the knees underneath the hips, the wrists underneath the shoulders, and the fingers spreading wide to support your wrists. And from here, let's move into a downward facing dog. So we're gonna spread our fingers nice and wide into the mat, curl the toes under, and we'll lift the knees and lift the hips up. You can begin to slide your chest back. Start to pedal out your legs, so bending one knee, sinking the other heel down, and then switch. Just starting to loosen up the backs of the legs a little bit. Really feeling that strength in the upper body. This is the one pose today that we're really holding up all of our body weight. So inviting in that warmth. One more breath here, downward dog. And then we'll go ahead and inhale, look towards our hands. And as you exhale, start to walk your feet forwards towards your hands. Measure about 2 fist distance between your 2 feet. This is a great sitting bone distance apart. And bend your knees so that you can touch the ground. You can do this measurement comfortably. And notice that when you bend your knees, your stomach is touching the tops of your thighs. If not, bend a little bit more. And we'll keep the stomach on the thighs as we soften and drop the head down. Then if you feel comfortable, let's hold on to opposite elbows. So now our head is hanging in the picture frame of our arms. Our thighs are supporting our torso. And as we drop into this stretch, we can really feel the surrender to gravity. Really try to shift the weight of your hips a little bit forwards so that the heels are not as heavy into the mat. There's a little bit more pressure down through the balls of your feet, and you feel like you're hanging even more heavy over your legs. Finding that deep sense of peace here in this calming forward fold. We're going to release our hands and bend the knees enough to plant the hands into the mat. And we'll step back into plank pose and gently take it down onto our belly. So now we're going to go ahead and move into Locust. So for Locust, take your hands beside your hips, palms facing up. And take an inhale here. And we'll exhale for the effort. So we'll exhale and lift our body off of the mat. We want to point our toes so our legs are nice and straight. And if you can, squeeze your big toes together to touch. Now trying to lift up through the shoulders, feeling broad across the collarbones in the front of your chest. And give your chin a little tuck so the back of the neck stays protected. Feeling all the muscles in your back body working hard here to help free up your front body. One more breath in. And as you breathe out, relax down, resting one cheek onto the mat. Taking a couple belly breaths in through the nose and out. Feeling that release into the mat. One more breath in. And out. Let's do one more Locust pose. So we'll bring our chin onto the mat. And if it's accessible for you, see if you can interlace your fingers behind your back. And then we're going to roll the shoulders away from the mat, lift the chest, and perhaps lift the legs off the mat. If this is uncomfortable, it's okay to do the first variation again. Feeling open through your chest, giving your chin that little tuck, and trying to release any squeezing in your glutes. Try to let the outer glutes be soft, accessing those deeper muscles underneath the glutes, hamstrings, the inner thighs, the lower core. Take another breath. I know you're working hard here. Inhale. And as you exhale, we'll release, resting the opposite cheek on the mat and letting the palms face up beside the hips. This time we'll bend our knees and go ahead and take a little windshield wiper motion of your feet from side to side to help you release in your lower back. Coming back to center and extending your legs long, we'll bring chin to the mat as we walk hands underneath the shoulders and pressing up onto all fours as you inhale. And we'll come into child's pose as you exhale. So separating the knees a little bit, bringing the big toes together to touch, and sitting the hips back towards the heels, any amount, as you drop your forehead into the mat. In this child's pose, feel the release of your back body after all those muscles just worked. Now we can really notice the surrender or the difference here. As you breathe in, feeling the back body expanding on your breath. And as you breathe out, letting your body come into that surrendering state or that state of release and relaxation. Another breath here. From here, we're gently going to walk the hands in towards our body, coming on up to sitting. And just sweeping your feet off to one side and coming into the mat. So finding somewhere that you can really feel grounded through your hips, relaxed through your hip flexors, and tall through your spine. So sometimes in a more meditative seat, it feels nice to lift yourself up onto a pillow or a blanket. So just feeling free to lift your seat if necessary. If you feel like your knees are coming up here, feel free to wedge pillows underneath them as well. So in this nice, tall, comfortable seat, I want to tap into a breathing exercise. Breath work or pranayama is really great to help us tap into that energetic level of surrender that lies within us all. So we're going to start here by taking alternate nostril breathing. This will help to balance out both hemispheres of the brain. So we're going to use our thumb and our ring finger of our right hand. Your peace fingers can either be up, which is more comfortable for me, or they can be tucked in, more of like a hang loose sign. So you decide which one works better. But I'll walk you through the whole thing. So here we go. You can close your eyes, sit up tall, and use your right thumb to cover your right nostril. And take a deep breath in through your left nostril. And then using the ring finger of your right hand, we'll close the left nostril and hold the breath. And then release the thumb and exhale through the right side. We'll now inhale through the right nostril, growing up a little bit taller. And then close and hold the breath. This is where the surrender happens, finding that trust within ourselves. And exhale through the left side. Inhale through the left nostril. Close and hold the breath, feeling clear and cleansed in your mind. Exhale through the right side. Feeling that calming energy from the exhale. Inhale through the right side. Close and hold your breath. And exhale through the left side. Let's take one more round. Hold. Exhale. Inhale. Hold. Exhale. And then gently let your hands fall onto your knees, palms facing down, and just sitting with the energy that we've just created here within our practice. As you sit here, noticing that subtle layer of release or surrender. Traditionally, from here, we would move right into our final resting pose, lying on our back, just like where we started today's practice in corpse pose, that ultimate pose of surrender. You are welcome to either move into corpse pose, or if you'd like to try something different, now that we've moved into this energy of surrender, you may feel comfortable to stay here in a seated meditation. So this is completely up to you, and it can be different every time. Finding somewhere that you can be comfortable, still, and drop into the embodiment of peace within you. You'll notice the mind is active. The mind is very used to working very hard and oftentimes working on multiple tasks at one time. Our idea here is to simplify our mind and its focus, solely connecting to the natural breath moving in and out of our body. When we give our mind this time to pause, we're allowing our mind to feel refreshed and renewed. It's kind of like if you're using your cell phone and all of a sudden there's a little glitch. Your text messages aren't working right, or your app isn't opening correctly. What do you normally do? You turn off your phone, and then you turn it back on, and it starts to work again, fresh and renewed. So using this time to simplify and pause all of the chaos in the mind, so that when we come out of this practice, we can feel renewed, refreshed, and feeling like we have a sense of this wholeness or a healthy mind to move forwards from. If your mind begins to wander, sending your awareness back to your breath. Let's slowly begin to come back into our physical body, taking a deep breath in, imagining it's coming through each and every pore of your body. And breathing out nice and slow, feeling the cleansing benefits of this breath. Starting to reawaken. If you're on your back, taking a full body stretch. If you're sitting, maybe gently rocking side to side or rolling out your neck. And just taking your time to come into a nice tall seat. And as you've made it, we'll inhale, sweep our arms out and up for the sky. And exhaling, moving down the midline, prayer hands come in front of the heart. So today's practice was all about connecting to the energetic level of surrender. In order to surrender, we need to move past that layer of the ego to drop into the subtle essence of ourselves. And when we do this, we feel like we can operate from the peace that's within us. We learned how to do this today with our breath, being the breather instead of the doer or the critic or the thinker. We simplified into this peaceful surrender. I hope you enjoyed the practice today. Thank you so much. The light in me sees the light in you. Namaste, y'all.